Evening and welcome once again all of you to our daily webinar. We are conducting this without any break. I'm appreciating everyone's presence and appreciation. Thank you so much. You are inspiring us to continue this program. We are continuing our journey. Today is our 1034th day. And today's our guest is Gustavo Pirra. Is a clinical physician and faculty of medicine in the University of Buenos Aires in the year of 1985. And he is a university specialist in internal medicine, homeopathic physician, graduated from Argentina, and teacher and member of board of directors of Argentina Homeopathic Medical Association, president of Argentine Homeopathic Medical Association, and professor of medical clinic at Argentine Homeopathic Medical Association in the year of 2002 to 2017, founder and former president of the College of Homeopathic Physician in the year of 2000, vice president of Argentine International Homeopathic Medical League, and he has translated 6th edition of Organon of Medicine to Spanish, and he translated Materia Medica to Spanish, and author of many papers. And he today he is searching Hahnemmann'S original thoughts. I am welcoming Dr. Gustavo Pirra.
You are hearing me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. First, I want to express my gratitude to the authorities and all the people that participate, who gave me the opportunity to be with you now and be part of this event. Could I?
Doctor, your sound, we can hear your sound, but can you increase the sound in the computer?
Yes. You hear me?
Yes. I can hear, but if you increase the sound means that will be more.
I increase the sound. Okay.
Okay, then continue, no problem. We can hear.
There is strange noises. Thank you. Lower. Okay, I will give you my work here. Okay.
Okay.
This work is about what I have, my work made for the consideration about the translation to Spanish and the search of the Hahnemann original concept. It's more than 20 years working on this, with plenty of many experience and funny situations. First of all, I want to introduce you about homeopathy. The practice of homeopathy could be made in different levels. For example, Hahnemann in the beginning, I use this stair for explain there are different levels for using the homeopathy. Even in the 1789, Hahnemann in venereal chronic disease, he used drugs for treatment the people. Substance. 10 years later, he was using trituration for the patient, another level. Later, he began to use the gloves and the drops. At last time, at the top, we could say that in the 6th edition of the Hahnemann Organon, he used the LM potencies. So there is a difference of prescribing and follow the patient about the way he was working with the patient. And there is another concept that appeared, for me is very important, that Hahnemann through 1805 began to say that the remedies must be produced after the third trituration. The third trituration is the first stage to have a real good remedy, Hahnemmann's remedy. He said that it's not a good practice to use tincture because will disturb the essence of the remedy. This is another concept for the beginning. Now we are introducing to the presentation of today. A phrases from Samuel Hahnemann. God, give us a greatest gift to use for the good of humanity, thought discernment, and the free power of reflection. In Spanish for the future. This is in the introduction of the 5th and 6th edition of the Hahnemmann'S Organon. This paper presents the consideration and difficulties to carry out the translation into Spanish of the 6th edition of the Organon of 1842 by Samuel Hahnemann. The search for his concept through the analysis of the correction and modification that he made of the original text, Hahnemmann's handwriting, presenting a new way of preparing to prescribe and follow up this posthumous approach. The this in the 6th edition appear significant difference in the evolution of the patient when comparing the use of the CH and LM OQ dynamization of potencies in terms of anamnesis, preparation, prescription, and follow-up. Make the latter a new way of thinking, of doing vain in homeopathy, the last paradigm of Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Hahnemmann's work is an example of erudition that lasts over time due to its simplicity and knowledge, based on extensive experience and clinic practice. Introduction. During his medical performance, Dr. Hahnemann changed over the years his way of preparing, prescribing, and following the evolution of the patient, without stretching from the fundamental principles of homeopathy. It can be understood because he was always a tireless seeker of the truth, wanting to perfect his method in the best possible way to reduce the duration of the treatment and avoid the initial aggravation. This was the line of Hahnemann. We try to understand the organon, so we decided to make a group for study. In 2001, in the Argentine Homeopathic Medical Association, a study group made up only of professionals was created to analyze the different versions of the Organon translation. They were not only in Spanish, but also in French, English, available all these books in the library of the AMA. We monthly have a day just to study the different versions. We read a paragraph in the different versions of the Organon, and they were very different. After almost 2 years and having found important difference between them, aided to a wording difficult to understand what lends itself to different interpretation. It was decided to work on the original text. Thus aroused the need to reach the true source of clarified thoughts. This was one of the objectives when I traveled to the Congress of the International Homeopathic Liga, Medical Liga, held in Graz in Austria, 2003. At the meeting of the International Homeopathic Medical Liga, prior to the Congress, I was able to confirm that the work of Dr. Joseph Smith was the most widely used in German, as well as in the rest of Europe. I asked to my college what organon they use usually, and they are everybody told me about Joseph Smith. So I went to the Congress, and it was funny that sitting behind me was a German girl. So I asked her if she knows Dr. Smith, because I want to become in contact with him, looking for his organ. And this girl began to laugh. So I was surprised because I said, what's wrong in my question? And she laughing said, I'm the girlfriend of Joseph Smith. So she took the phone and called him, and they laughed about this funny situation and put me in contact with him. From that Congress, I've been working and asking and meeting him for this great work. Some concepts that are very important to understand this task. It is known that until 1921, only the 5th edition of the Organon, first published in 1833, had been released. That means that all the homeopathy all the homeopathy country doctors usually use the 4th or 5th edition of Hahnemann. Nobody knows it until 1921. Richard Hale was the first to edit the 6th edition based on a copy made by Melanie. A copy made by Melanie. Signed, he himself refers in his work that he only had Hahnemmann's original for a week only in his hand before sending it to Boerick, who had bought it. That means that there is a 6th edition handwritten by Hahnemann. There is another 6th edition made by handwriting of Melanie that he pretends being a copy, a full copy of Hahnemmann's one. Hale used Melanie's, and Boerick has the handwriting of original of Hahnemann. Boerick produced this book, the 6th edition, in English, using the 5th edition, added some modification of Hahnemann. So there were 2 versions, the Hale version in German and the Boerick version from the United States. The Hale version was reprinted from 1921 in German language by different publishers up to now. But in 1982, Smith went to the United States just to know what happened with the German homeopaths that lived there, and talking with one of them was told that the secretary of Boerick was still alive. So he went to visit her. And she told him that the Hahnemmann's handwriting version, the original, was in the library of the school. So Smith went to the school and through 6 months, worked on the handwriting, turning to the German version. That is the 6th edition that appeared in 1992, where Smith made a critical study of the text and produced at the first time in German from the original of Hahnemmann's handwriting. Since in 1996, an update and guaranteed German text was achieved. So for this work that I present you, I use the Smith books, Melanie handwriting, and the handwriting of Hahnemmann's. There are different between them also. But another item is to understand why the name Organon. Being one of the fundamental texts for learning homeopathy, the Organon, from the ancient Greek instrument, is defined like a treatise where a scientific research method is described, an instrument to develop thought constituted by logical system where knowledge of certain area is developed. We could define it as an instrument for the acquisition of knowledge, a corpus of principles for scientific and philosophical investigation. The important thing is not a book of rules or doctrine. It's very important to think about this, not rules or doctrine. It's a book for learn to think about a topic, just to learn how to think about this. It's different, the concept. Aristotle was the first to write an Organon in which he summarized a treatise of logic. The second one belonged to Francis Bacon in 1620, a treatise of logic. In this case, it's writing in Latin, and he specified the rules of the experimental scientific method that are still being practiced today. See how important are the Organon in the human history. And finally, Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann is the third to write an Organon. In this case, it's related with homeopathy, but is the only one who rewrote it 6 times between the 1810, the first edition, and the 1842, the 6th one. There are 6 versions of the organ that imply an evolutionary process of knowledge in relation to the way of preparing the energized medicine, its research, prescription, and follow-up based on a homeopathic clinical approach. An Organon is therefore not a book of doctrine rules, but a treatise for the development of a topic. So it's very important to pick up this idea. It is necessary, it's constant reading for picking up this new knowledge. Now you will understand why it's so important to be in the translation as faithfully as possible to the original thought. That was the objective. For this, we compare the original handwriting, as I told you before, with the one was made by Melanie, since some addition and correction had been lost from the original, because sometimes they were added by small pieces of paper. Incredible, incredible. Look this. I bring this picture just to show you in the 6th edition, you could look, Hahnemann. This is the 5th edition where Hahnemann is rewriting and he put this paper in addition. I use this paragraph because it's one of the big concepts that appear in the 6th edition. The Gefühl, it's a new word that he used in this 6th edition, just to show that you must not be trying to know what are the symptoms or the illness or the signals or sensation of the patient. You must arrive to the natural chronic disease that Gefühl, the principal vital. This is the new concept that appears in the 6th edition. You use the sensation and things just to understand the natural chronic disease, how is Gefühl in permanent affection of the principal vital. You must understand all the idea, what is happening with the patient, just for give the right remedy in the 6th edition. This is the new clinical concept. Now you could see in Melanie's version, handwritten, the same paragraph. Okay, analyzing the way in which it's rewrites and correct, it is possible to follow the evolution of Hahnemann concepts. In the beginning, Hahnemann himself taught the content of the organon in the University of Leipzig. In the United States, they were instructed the homeopathy according to an organon in German, not yet translated. That was the beginning of the homeopathy in the other century. But now what happened? The majority of the homeopaths knows Hahnemann taught it only through his translation and comments that are based on different references. That is the critical situation now. So another task to take in care for this study was to try to understand the reference and the sources that Hahnemann used for make the 6th edition. So in order to understand the nature of this work, it is essential to know the sources and the references of the Organon 6th edition. So what we made, we look for all the references and sources, investigate the life and the sources, and try to understand why Hahnemann put in those paragraphs that I mentioned here, the idea that these people introduced by Hahnemann. All this work is produced in an addenda at the end of the book, where you could look not only the people, the sources, but also what was the idea and what is referenced in that paragraph. Why is referenced there? This is another part of the book for understand the organ, 6th edition. At least to carry out this work, the following were taken into account. Personal and family and social historical aspect. When he traveled, he had to leave some homes. What was the position of Hahnemann in that moment? The vitalism philosophical context. We know that homeopathy is a vitalism philosophical medicine, but Hahnemann introduced new concepts into the philosophical vitalism. For example, dynamics until Paracelso was a way of thinking about each organ has its own dynamics. But Hahnemann hold all these integrated into only one concept of the dynamics. That is the difference before Hahnemann. So he modified the vitalism philosophical concept. And we have to understand it for pick up the meanings of the 6th edition. A study was made of the corresponding analysis and the added correction and rewriting paragraph as shown you recently. The study of specific words that don't appear in the dictionary. For example, geistartig, it's for give us a new idea from Hahnemann. It comes from Geist, art, ich, but the meaning, it's a new concept. For example, Zufall is another concept very important in the homeopathy. Gefühl, I showed you recently. The thematic study of related paragraph to identify concept accent. What happened? Studying each paragraph appear thematic items. When you relate it, you discover concepts that are behind the handwriting Hahnemmann's. And for the end, the application and clinical practice, formidable. It's a big change in the practice. So, how we made this work? When it was decided to carry out the task, two teams of translation who did not know each other were taken. Initially alien to homeopathy, so they would not be influenced by the ideas of homeopathy. They have to translate the original text. This task was carried out in several stages. a team by Marcela Haddad, and then was translated again from the original handwriting of Hahnemann by Analia Bavaro. These two translations were integrated into a single test. When appear some things that are not agree, I send it back to each other, and they have to answer me why was the difference, until it could be find only one idea. In the other translation of the Organon, were taken into account to study the differences that could arise. In that case, the translator are consulted again and retranslated them in light of Hahnemann original. So the French, the other Spanish version were consulted just to know which is the real true of the handwriting. When this task was completed, the text was delivered to 4 style correctors, language teacher. The first one was a German teacher, so he could check that the German was there. The last one was a very known about syntactics and coherence, so in Spanish you could read it without problem. Another thing is that the original is written in current, German current. It's an old German calligraphy derived from the Gothic medieval cursive script until 1870. For example, Goethe, Lessing, other authors write in current. Why? Because it's faster to write the ideas, but it's most difficult to understand it. Another funny thing, a friend, Mariano Spagnolo, works in Argentine in the theater, making the translation of the opera that was written in current. So I asked him about Hahnemann and corrected again with reading it in current. For example, the points disappear in the current. So you have to understand where is the point. The sentences could be a page. It's very difficult to understand it, okay? Also for the German people. I first asked in Argentine to German people to help me, and they say, no, it's impossible. This language, I could not do it. That is why Smith's work is so important, because he made part of this. Then, in order to minimize errors, each difference was checked against the source, and if there were any change from the source at the end of the translation, we retranslated, given the idea of the handwriting. So that is the idea, to check that the final work is like, or pretends be like handwritten Hahnemmann's. From this entire sequence, the most conflicted words and phrases emerge, which are placed as a footer to clarify them, enrich the context, and facilitate their understanding. And it would also allow them to be used in reference in future work. So in the future, if someone works for verify the translation or want to work on the Organon, have the ideas from the beginning. Hahnemann comments are placed after each paragraph, not at the end, as to the original, because they are didactic and the reading is especially recommended for understand the paragraph. For example, look, at the end of each paragraph, Hahnemmann's notes are put. So you don't have to look for them, they are there. Another thing, I pay special attention for the bold Hahnemmann's letters. Are very strange in the way he used the bold. but at least when you pay attention, it's very important for understand the text. German words have several meanings translated to Spanish. For this reason, the definition of each one was investigated and placed in the bottom of the pages. Only those cases which are considered to be conflict in concept with homeopathic practice, we put the different meanings in Spanish. Most frequently used words are put in the bottom. I show you, for example, here is the word in German, the Spanish mention and display, and now what is the meaning in Spanish? And also the other paragraph will appear. Sometimes I use synonyms of the word in German, synonyms that Hahnemann used in different parts. So we try to understand why in some paragraphs they use this word and the other one, so appear different concepts. The work was done in adaptation to the style and the current linguistic mode. Oh, this is funny. Everybody will accept that we say allopathy and allopathic, for example, diarrhea instead of slide, or everybody agree that we say woman and not female. That is the changes. This is the first version in Spanish, the 2008. We made 4 versions making all these changes up to the now, that is 2022. The 2022 that we produce in Argentina. Look some examples. This is Hahnemann, paragraph 68. Look, he makes a mark for show that you must look in the back the word. All the sentences he is modified. Gifford in this case, or in the bottom. Again, you have to look in the back. As I show you before. Well, one of the last items is the introduction of the organon. It's a very important part because 5th and 6th edition are identical. He don't modify them. Think why he's changing the idea of the paragraph, but in the introduction, he doesn't modify it. The reason is that he is agreed with that content. Look, the changes in the paragraph, notes, rewriting, the introduction, nothing, just only this for show you. Another part of the introduction, another part. So what's the problem? That it's very difficult to find the concept that appear in the introduction. You could read it and you could go, if you want to go back, you could not find the concept there. So we decide to paragraph the introduction of the organon. With some doctors during 2 years, we worked to introduce a paragraph in the introduction of the organon. So we use the I of introduction and a sequential number to paragraph the introduction of Hahnemann. For example, I-23, the cause of the disease cannot be material. Look in the and the notes of Hahnemann were introduced where he said inside the introduce of the organon. In this way, we can now reference a series of concepts that are developed in the introduction of the organon. The themes of this concept are incorporated into an alphabetic index that is at the end of the book. So if you look for cause of disease, you could see in material or dynamic cause of disease, the comments of the Hahnemann in the 5th paragraph, but in the introduction appear in the E6, 7, or the notes of Hahnemann 8, 7, or in the different parts of the organon. you could find it easily in this way. Conclusion. Thanks to this work, it can be understood that many of the doctrinal differences of the schools of homeopathy would be based on the fragmented understanding of the work of its founder. The thought that awakens the study and the constant deepening of the Organon opens to a new experience of reality based on the dynamic totality of this perception. Effective homeopathic clinical practice arises from the following his instruction. Very important to be clever on this. Dynamization is one of the foundations of the Hahnemann homeopathy. Through friction, gradient, succussion, and the corresponding dilution, allowing them to be administered in the minimum possible dose. Hahnemann in the 269 paragraph says that it's by his really own is to introduce the dynamicide medicines. This is by his own. The true and brilliant Hahnemann approach, especially achieved in this 6th edition, has to do the clinic based on understanding the totally underlying disharmony of the patient, the modification of the vital principle, caused by the permanent disturbance of the natural disease in the vital principle. That is conditioned by the body stage, where the symptoms and disease are only the way of expressing it and not the cause themselves. This Hahnemann approach will not be complete without monitoring the clinical evolution of the cases treated with these principles, with the understanding of the evolution signs and symptoms in relation to the totality of the disease, law of cure. Only the constant reading and reflecting study of it will allow discernment for the successful practice of the homeopathic clinic. The significant difference that appear in the evolution of the patient when comparing CH and LM potencies in terms of anamnesis, preparation, prescription, and follow-up made the 6th edition a new way of thinking and doing being in homeopathy. The last paradigm of Samuel Hahnemann. Life is one, multifaceted and diversity of forms, expressing itself through multiple singularities, deeply in the context and circumstances. Life is one. Thank you very much about your attention, time, organization, and the work you are doing. Marianne told me, and it's very grateful that know that people like you are working in that way. Thank you very much. That's all.
Thank you so much. And now we have questionnaire. Those who want to ask questions, you can ask. Please raise your hand.
Yes.
Dr. Manoj.
Thank you, Ajini. This is not a question, but should have an interaction always because it's a wonderful presentation and he did expose a lot of the corners, dark corners or the in the homeopathy. But what I think what is more important is that the transition from vital principle, the vital force to vital principle. When we can connect it with the Kantian philosophy of the simple substance, I think the vital principle and the simple substance are one and the same thing. I and my father are one and the same, just like that. And another thing is what is this this simple substance? This is nothing but the universal consciousness. The nature has, the universe has got its own consciousness. So that is why all these things are controlled in an unbelievable manner. Even from a single this silicea granule or the particle, it has got its own methodology of actions and responses. So it is up to we must reach to a metaphysical level. From the first edition of Organon, you can see the footnote, the last. At last, what happened? It ultimately dissolved in its principles. What is that? So then another interesting aphorism, it was a footnote. It was not in the second or third edition. It was in the 17th, the footnote of the aphorism 70, the first edition. It's a wonderful exposition. What was his initial thought? Then how he withdraw from that, because the people at that time is not at all in a position to understand all these things. That is why William Shakespeare said, or this Richard Hale, man is the product of heredity, upbringing, time, and environment. So the time and environment is very important. That may be the reason he withdrew that statement. You can see in the first the 17 footnote of aphorism 17 first edition. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj. Now, Dr. Beatrix. You can unmute yourself.
Yes. So, Dr. Gustavo Pirra, many greetings from Germany.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Viele Grüße aus Deutschland. It's really impressive to see your study and all that work you put into the right translation of the Organon of our Grandmaster. And also very interesting, you had two different groups which did not know each other. It's very special and very impressive. It's the first time I hear this in my life. Very impressive. Thank you very much. And you know, I'm also working since 30 years with LM potencies.
Oh, good.
Yes, here in Germany, because I started in a hospital with a lot of allergic diseases and big problems, clinical problems. So we used LM potencies. So I use them every day. So I'm so happy we have the 6th edition.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And I'm also so happy that our colleagues from India, you can study homeopathy in India, and they're teaching a lot of Organon, and that's also very great. And to finalize, I would like to say, as a German person, the language of Dr. Hahnemann, it's from another time. So the words nowadays would be a bit different than in that time. Okay, that's normal. But I really can tell you from my heart that the way Dr. Hahnemann is writing and talking, it's incredible. It's like he's talking in 3 dimensions at the same time.
Yes.
Understand? So we also have very good philosophers of the time of Dr. Hahnemann. They also have a very good language, but he is really talking in multi-dimensional in the same time. So it's very nice to read, and for us it's easy to understand, but it's very clear. He's putting it so clear. Perhaps German is the only language you can do it like this, but it's really putting in phrase, a sub-phrase, another phrase referring to the beginning. For us, it's normal, more or less in our language, but it's really impressive. It's a speaking of high art. It's a real art how he is writing. I can tell you as a German person and homeopath.
Yes.
So a lot of love to Argentina. It's great you are doing all these things.
Thank you.
And a lot of love to India, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Very nice.
Thank you, Dr. Beatrix. Now, Dr. Hahnemmann'S. Dr. Hahnemmann'S.
Okay. Good evening to all, and thanks to Dr. Gustavo and also Dr. Beatrix. My comment about the translation, because I am in Saudi Arabia, so I have some good experience about translation. So really it is appreciable that you have used to translation to avoid the errors. And it is my also recommendation that if you want to learn the language or translation, you must visit Germany also. Because if you don't know the geography and culture, it is difficult to translate. Because I am in Saudi Arabia, so I am enjoying this facility, but not me, my children's. So they are translator. So they, because in so many words, what is written in the book, it is not spoken. So you will win the heart if you just visit sometime, or so it will be very helpful. And thank you very much. I wish you all the best. And for translation, it is a proverb that because you use two groups, so faithful, beautiful, unfaithful, and another is ugly but faithful. So this is the summary of translation, and I wish all the best. Thank you very much. And I wish if IFPH need Arabic translation, I will be helpful from my children. I don't know much, but I have very much interest. Thank you very much, and blessed platform.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Dr.
Thank you,
Hassan.
Dr.
Thank you.
Hahnemmann'S. Now, Marian Salcedo, you can ask.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Hi to all of you. It's just to express my gratitude to IFPH for making these kind of meetings possible. I believe that homeopathy is spreading in all the world, and each country has their own develops in homeopathy. And I believe that Argentina is one of the most important countries that developed the homeopathy in a good way. This is a sample that we have with Dr. Gustavo Pirra, that he's a great master. He's my teacher, and I feel proud of him because I can learn about what Hahnemmann's saying in the Organon, what Hahnemann was talking at that time that is really actual for our times too. So thanks to IFPH for this kind of opportunities, and thank you very much to Dr. Gustavo Pirra, because it's a great work. And I'm sure that we have to work in this way because it's the correct way to have Dr. Hahnemann very close of us. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Mariam. Thank you. You make the
Thank you.
possibility. You facilitate this event. So thank you very much.
Anyway, it's quite interesting to note that there are a few words in Arabic that was written the lesser writings. I think Fausus al-Bayt, I think Ajini may know that, Dr. Ahmad may know that. It was mentioned there in an article. Dr. Beatrice, I think you might have noted that. Dr. Beatrice. Yeah.
You are talking about an article, Dr. Manoj?
Yes, there was a couple of words mentioned by Hahnnemann in Arabic.
Yes.
In Arabic, that is also there.
In Arabic? Oh, I did not see that.
Yes.
So,
not exactly.
you know, Dr. Hahnnemann himself, sorry, he was very polyglot. He was talking, he could speak in Latin or Greek, I think also Hebrew,
Yes.
every language, English, French, German, of course, yes.
8 to 11
Arabian.
languages, I think.
Hebrean, Arabian also.
Pardon?
Arabian,
Now,
Yeah.
now
interesting.
Sergio Castillo will talk now.
Yeah.
Sí. Bueno, Marian me traduce. Creo que este es un trabajo, en primer lugar, un trabajo muy bien hecho. Creo que es una excelente traducción de Hahnemann, donde hay un equipo que ha encabezado el doctor Pirra, que ha sido realmente, diría yo, la marca que nos ha colocado referente a otros libros que pueden también traducirse desde sus lenguas originales. Generalmente las traducciones se hacen en forma muy rápida, inclusive hoy día se hacen prácticamente mecánicamente. Pero es importante ver, sobre todo en el alemán, ya el conocimiento filosófico que hay detrás. Y eso lo manifiesta tu trabajo. Yo creo que eso es fundamental. No sé si Marian puede traducir.
Thank you,
Well-
Salcedo. We need your help.
So, here I am. So Dr. Sergio said that is very important work made by Dr. Gustavo Pirra. He is the header of a very important group to translate this. But the most important thing is to rescue the philosophical knowledge behind these translations. And that was the work by Dr. Gustavo Pirra. It's a very well done work.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
What's the
Thank you,
idea?
Dr. Salcedo. Now, actually, it is very happy to see our platform. Our mission was to unite the homeopathic doctors from the entire world. Now we are completing our mission and continuing our journey. Really happy to see the platform with doctors from different countries. Really wishing you all the very best, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I'm very happy to see you all, and happy Doctors Day to everyone. Thank you so much. And Dr. Manoj and Dr. Danish want to speak again. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
fortunately, I got that on the heliborsum of ancients. That was the article. Here you can see Arabic writing is there.
Okay.
On the
Dr.
heliborsum
Manoj.
of ancients, and it was written Hausus Bain Al-Bayt, something like that. It was translated with my friend, with the help of my friend who was studying in Kuwait. I just gave her, what is this? I don't know. So she just helped me.
Bait means house.
Yes,
Other word I don't know.
yes. It was there on the heliborsum of ancients. That was the article. It was mentioned, lesser writings by Hahnnemann. Page number 571. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Now, Dr. Danish. Dr. Manoj is a deep reader. We all are superficially reading. He's finding each and every corner with every detailed explanation. Thank you so much.
Because I was a teacher, that's the reason.
Maybe you are responsible to share the knowledge, no? True. And Dr. Danish?
Good evening, Gustavo Pirra, sir. It's really a wonderful session from you. Really, it's a very happy to here in India, we are celebrating the Doctors' Day here, and remembering Dr. Hahnnemann, a particular day here is something great, and really amazing to have such a nice presentation here. And as we have a wonderful discussion on our Organon, how to what are the things written by Hahnnemann in those days and how to translate those things into reality. You have done a wonderful job as stated by the presentation here. Thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation. I hope you can do some more presentation in the future, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you very much.
Then another word is Harbak Bait. What is that?
Harbaka.
Harbak Bait.
Bait? You know,
Yes.
Harbaka.
Then Lasan Al-Halal. What is that?
What?
Lasan. That is also there. I don't know what it is. Just translated by me. It was the same essay. You can see a lot of Arabic quotations from Hahnnemann. Yes. Then another interesting topic, interesting writing by Hahnnemann in the preface of the first edition. Very interesting. That is, the physician who enters on his work in this spirit becomes directly assimilated to the divine creator of world. Directly assimilated to the divine creator of world. He helps to whose human creatures he helps to preserve and whose approval renders him thrice blessed. This is what? This is purely philosophy. Even though we can claim this or that, but it is in fact actually we can't reach up to that level. Yes, Dr. Gustavo?
Manoj, I think the meaning
I
is
could not
Dr.
understand.
Hahnnemann has raised. What, doctor?
Mariam, could you translate me?
Pardon?
Of course I can. Please, I will translate Dr. Manoj to Dr. Pirra, okay?
Okay.
Bueno, el doctor Manu te dice que él tiene un libro muy antiguo donde Hahnemann había escrito en árabe y que
Árabe.
realmente tiene como una filosofía pura por detrás. Entonces, ha leído una frase, la cual no tengo ese acceso de conocimiento, pero que él dice que realmente lo que Hahnemann escribía era filosofía pura, ¿no? Filosofía en materia de salud, de medicina.
Ah, claro.
Okay.
Good. I want to know about that. It's very important because I suspect that he's talking about a real new way of think about medicine that up to today we doesn't use. That is why the Organon is so important to read it and read it to pick up this idea. It's a new concept of medicine. It's not only the dynamicide medicine. It's the way that you apply it, the way you think of the patient. The Arabic, okay. That must be when he was very young, he learned Arabic. No, not South Africa. When he went to Brooklyn, when he was with ¿cómo se llama? Transylvania. When he was studying in Transylvania, he learned Hebraic and was introduced to the Arabic medicine in that time. He was very young, before being in Erlangen. Then he was investigating about that. You know that?
Dr. Gustavo, now it is the time for our Malayalam session. I am inviting Dr. Beatrix for giving vote of thanks. Thank you so much. I think Dr. Hahnemmann'S has raised a hand for giving meaning, right?
Yeah. If Dr. Manoj share me, then I can see, because sometimes pronunciation difficult. Thank you very much.
And now it is the time for giving vote of thanks. Dr. Beatrix, please.
So thank you very, very much, Dr. Gustavo Pirra. It was a great, great session, and it was exceptional for us to see your work. And I also would like to offer to you, if you have a paragraph which is very close to your heart or very close to your interest, if I can be of any help to explain, you can have a good translation, a very good translation, but the spirit behind the translation still is a spirit. That's language. So in case you would like to have any contact with me, Dr. Marian has my contact, and please feel free if you have a special paragraph to talk about.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. And thank you very much to IFPH and all the people with endless work and let's say enthusiasm every day planning a session, and we have got friends by the time, and that's very special. And also, as she was saying, now we feel that people are connecting more. Latin America is in the group, and that was the idea of IFPH when it was founded more than 3 years ago. Very special, very nice always to see our friends and colleagues. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you so much. Now it is. Thank you so much, and love you all, and wishing you all happy Doctors Day. Now we are going to Malayalam session. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow the same time. Thank you.